personally, I use it every day because I find that it brings me really present with my body. So
when do you do it?
So I typically do it in the morning as part of my morning routine, and then I do it again at the end of the day.
Oh, geez, twice.
So I kind of just book. Look, it's 6 minutes of doing nothing. I'm not a fucking hero.
That's the only time you sit still.
No, 6 minutes.
That's it. It's 6 minutes of doing nothing.
That's still.
I can't get beat by nothing. It's so much easier than working out. I promise.
Well, what is the temperature of a cold plunge?
I keep mine at about 45 degrees.
Okay. All right.
Kind of all the studies show anything below that's kind of whether or not it's any more valuable. Like I'm not doing it for this max effort exercise of seeing how long I can stomach it or anything like this.
Sure. No.
Doing it to serve a purpose.
Okay. And your morning, are they different reasons? Your morning and after and night? Okay. So your morning.
My morning routine is I'll typically get in here and try to spend some time moving, like either riding the bike, training a little bit, and listening to a book or podcast or something new information wise. And so by the time I finish training, I spend an hour in the sauna listening to a book or something else, podcast. By the time I'm done there, I'm usually so spun up with ideas and things that I'm useless, but I'm very excited for the day.
Sure.
And so getting the cold and me getting back present with my body instead of just being in my head during that whole time pulls everything back together with the breath. And then when I start my day, I'm really focused.
Welcome, fellow lushes. Come on in, pull up a bar stool, and enjoy some cocktails with Dimples and the Beard.
Here, we're going to start from right here.
Kaboom.
All right. You know what we haven't been doing lately? Disclaimers. We need to do a disclaimer.
We need to let the folks know before they watch too far.
Yeah. Why don't you disclaim them?
Just so you know, this episode does contain explicit language.
Does.
And will.
And
adult throughout content. The whole thing. It's adult content. There's probably going to be a little nudity going on as well.
Hopefully.
So be wary when your children listen. It's up to you if you want to let your children listen.
Well, if they're listening, they won't notice the nudity.
Watch.
So
I say let them watch.
Well, let them
that's
watch.
Up to you.
All right. So with that.
And listen.
Hello, fellow lushes. Welcome back. Another episode of Cocktails with Dimples and the Beard. And guess what we got tonight? Another beautiful
man.
Gentle
man.
A sexy man. One beast of a man. He is.
So is he sexier because of his physical or because of his mental?
To me?
To you.
Oh, I'm incredibly shallow. It's that body that works it for me.
All right.
No, both his messages. I mean, I'm not, I saw him on a podcast.
Sugar-coated.
No, it's fine. I'm trying to, I'm going to try to be a little more genuine with this one. Cause I feel like this is one that's a little more genuine than some of them.
We're going to get deep.
We are going to get
deep today.
No, I saw him on Jason Ellis' podcast and fell in love with what he had to say and then watched his YouTube video from the Vertical U speaking event and liked him even more and then asked him if he'd come on the podcast. We were lucky to get him. So yeah,
he's so positive. He said yes.
Yeah, he said yes. I think it was us and not just because he's super positive. He was like, look at that podcast on the upward swing.
I got a feeling it's more the look at that. I think I can help those guys.
Well, that's cool. I like people who help. That's very nice.
They need help.
Well, we did probably when we booked him, but now we don't. Look at the numbers. I can't do it.
A little help molding us into
this will come out
better us.
This will come out probably long after, but thanks to Mrs. Andy and Mrs. Milford, our numbers are looking pretty damn good. How come we can't?
They're pretty phenomenal.
Yeah.
So I appreciate everything he did.
I'm excited to talk to this man, and he's done a lot of cool shit. And we'll talk about as much of it as we can.
And hopefully we can do more shit going forward.
If we don't do more shit after we talk to this guy, he might find us and beat us.
Well, good.
So,
which
I'm not going to lie.
The only problem, I think, here's the bigger problem is if we say we're going to do something, we don't. Then
like I did with Max Solomon.
Maxwell.
Sorry, Max Solomon. Yeah,
it's not you. He should have kicked your ass.
Yeah, well, if I lived in LA, he probably would have.
He should have,
but
because
I knew there was safety and distance from Mac. I don't have to work out. He'll never find me. So he ain't
not that he
coming
would.
to-
If you did work out, he was not that he was scared, but
he ain't coming to Wisconsin.
so that's the key, and I think that's what we're gonna learn as we go on. It's one thing if I just say no, I don't want to do a fucking thing. Oh, not 7 minutes. Well, then it's up to you. Then you have no one to blame but you. But if we say you're going to do something,
it's literally 7 seconds. It's not 7 minutes.
Okay.
It's the first 7 seconds.
That's weird. That's just a weird.
Well, yeah, there are. I mean, we'd have to really dive into it, but I don't know. We're not. I mean, let's face it. We've never really tried to censor ourselves, and pretty much all of our videos are monetized on
Banned.
YouTube.
We're all banned.
No, they're not.
Every one of them.
Some of them.
You got to go to the dark web to find us.
I don't know. I didn't check today to the
Do they have that? Could we do it? Maybe. Don't tell them. We need a podcast on the dark web.
I don't know how to find the dark web.
Well, after we find it, we'll have a podcast.
Do you know how to find the dark web? Did you?
I have no idea. No clue. But I'm just saying, I'll look tonight.
I was wondering if that's where you bought your dead bodies from.
I'll look tonight. I'm sure I could find it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the dark web is. I don't know how to get there. I thought like the regular web is disturbing enough that I don't think I want to go to the dark
The
web.
dark web scared you?
I mean, I can find a lot of
Can find a lot of shit.
pretty nasty shit on the normal good old
No, that it was funny. I
light web. And by the way,
it always intrigued me a little bit. We're
going to the dark web?
not to go there, but how you can find it, how you can. I don't
even know what it means, honestly. Like is it a different web? Is it an adjacent web?
That's a good point.
Do you have
Is it its own web?
Do you have to go to the multiverse to get to it? Do you have to go to the upside down to get to it?
Well, I think after looking at a few things, it could be upside down. But that's where you would trade for a dead body.
Do you have to go everywhere, all at once? Web or whatever that movie was just called.
Wow, nice try.
I just know it's about that kind of shit.
Nice try.
Have you seen it?
I did.
Did you? Was it good?
It was. You had to pay attention, and it was crazy.
How many times did you watch it? Just once?
I only saw it once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you see it in the theater?
I did.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. Because I heard good things, and I thought it was supposed to be good effects, and I liked a lot of people in the movie.
Yeah. No, I'm interested in it just based on
And the
subject matter. But I have heard that you can.
I'm not a huge fan of the whole multiverse kind of thing.
But you're a superhero guy.
Before they went multiverse.
Oh, that's what finally swayed you. It was so real up until that point, and then they're like, "Oh, multiverse."
No, you know what it was?
So
I got sick of it when it was. This was after the second superhero movie.
Yeah,
it was the same movie, just different characters. I just went because.
So a multiverse is essentially Batman existing in another universe,
and they're a whole different story line to them.
So basically, it's just a way for these movie people,
yes, and comic book people and book people, and
to make a whole nother
story
based on Batman, even though it's all.
So we've been writing Batman for how many years, and he's already 50 and done everything he could. Shit, what do we do? We'll go to the verse so we can start over and have a whole new storyline.
Oh, the Batman is 50 now in the comic books?
I don't know.
I mean, I don't know if this I don't know if you understand cartoons and stuff like it's not real. Bart Simpson has been on TV for 30 years. He's still 9.
Well, Bart has reincarnation.
He's still 9. There's no multiverse. There's no.
But I think
they just tell the story.
The history of Batman, he does get older.
Oh, Jesus fucking Christ. Well, that was stupid, but kind of like The Walking Dead. Like eventually you put in these characters eventually.
Don't quote me. I mean, come at me.
Yeah, troll.
Come on, you nerds. You fucking Batman nerds. Come at me. Tell me I don't know what I'm talking about.
I mean, first of all, if we really want to offend the Bat people, worst superhero of all time.
Superhero of all time?
He's not even a superhero. He's a dude with a belt.
He gets them with their mind.
He's got gadgets. He's Inspector Gadget, essentially.
He is.
Which I did love as a kid, Inspector Gadget.
Too.
They should did they ever make a live?
They would do.
Live?
Yeah. Matthew Broderick was in the first one.
You're right. I do.
And then that French guy from
Mr. Bean?
No. From Third Rock from the Sun, that Mr. French Stewart or something his name is. He was in the second one.
Oh, French Stewart. Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Stuart French.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
He was the weird one on Third Rock from the Sun.
I never watched the show, but I know who you're talking about.
Anyways, but yeah, I love the show as a kid. I mean, I would be late for school in the morning because I would want to see the ending.
Inspector
'Cause I had to
Gadget.
find out if Inspector Gadget
He always
got away with it.
He always foiled the.
Yeah, but
he
you
always
never
foiled.
know.
Who was the bad guy in Inspector Gadget?
The Claw or something.
Klaus Van Damme.
Yes.
No. Anyway,
I think it was Claw.
enough talking about that.
Well,
We don't leave.
you never leave a pretty man waiting.
We don't. So without further ado, a guy who does a lot of shit, Matt Vincent. All right. Thanks a lot for coming on, man. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, gentlemen, how are you guys?
We are good. We are good.
Fantastic.
I'm going to introduce you first, Matt Vincent. And I was going to introduce you through all of your things, but I've watched your talk at Vertical U enough times to know that I just want to introduce you as a guy who does a lot of shit. So
I dig that. That works great for me.
right, and I loved your speech at the Vertical U. I don't know what conference was very inspiring, very motivational. I watched it a number of times and really dig it.
Thank you very much, man. Getting a chance to do more of that public speaking thing's been really interesting.
Yeah.
Getting a chance to share my story, you know, coming from the athletic background and kind of retiring from that line of sport. You know, it's always interesting to find new avenues that I feel really push myself.
Sure. You know, you kind of have the fear of public speaking like most people do, but like you said, you kind of that's where you live in the uncomfortable, right? So
right, especially if we're talking about a fear like that, right? Like there's no danger.
Right.
It's just embarrassment.
Right.
I was going to say getting laughed at is going to be
Yeah.
about the worst
Fuck,
thing
man,
that could happen.
I've been laughed at before. It's not that big a deal.
It's
You
not.
know,
No.
and then the other part of it, right, is like, well, how do I stack the cards in my favor to do it well? And it's, you know my shit and know the message and be living that thing and be able to talk and plan and do the repetition before you get up there.
For sure.
So are you doing more public speaking now?
Yeah, they kind of seem to pop up here and there, and it's been a lot of fun.
Okay.
That's
So
awesome.
So what do you're from the first public speaking to this last one? What's the big difference for you?
So the very, very first one I did was like at Sorinex. You know, I guess if that's what you would call it, I'd been invited to Canada for a few years doing some seminars like at Good Life, teaching bench squat, deadlift, and overhead press. And then what I ended up teaching most of the time while I was actually there was, you know, how to coach people on those things and how they should go about sales.
Okay.
And like how they should manage relationships, right? That like where their real goal is as a personal trainer here is we can get lost in the sets and reps of things, but we have to make people feel they should come in a second time.
Okay. Sure.
Right? So focusing on that and building the relationship and trust to have this person who needs confidence and what an important role these trainers play in this big picture of things. You know, I think like your big box trainer gets shit on a little bit. And man, those are the guys that get to make the biggest impact. That's where someone who's decided to be brave enough to go to the gym the first time meets someone.
Yeah.
Right.
Very likely that's the guy or lady that will help that person decide whether they continue on that journey. And so kind of started public speaking there and really enjoyed it. And then have done a couple gigs over the years and a few more here and there. And they've ramped up and ramped down and kind of just go with it as they go.
Yeah. When they pop up, they pop up. Yeah.
Right.
So you obviously have a very interesting story. We kind of start with the Highland Games. You a Highland Games champion. How do you get into the Highland Games when you're living? Where were you living at the time? Louisiana.
Yeah. So I spent most of my time post-college in Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
Okay.
And so I went to LSU as a thrower doing shot put, discus, and hammer.
Okay.
So there's a bit of a stretch from there to the Scottish Highland Games, but in a world of throwers, you figure out all the weird shit throwers are doing. So this is one of those things.
All these games are kind of classified. All these sporting events are kind of classified as throwers. You can kind of throw them all into the.
I guess that's how I classify it, right? Like, because you've got strongman and then you've got powerlifting, and those are very different things.
Sure.
You've got weightlifting, which is its own category. And then you've got throwers, and the classic track and field throwers are definitely strength athletes.
Yeah.
But it's measured in such a different way. And then the Highland Games events are all throwing events. Like there isn't any lifting event. And so
Okay.
I would consider it all throwers.
Okay. So what are the main events in the Highland Games? I mean, there's something similar like a shot put where you got the rock kind of on your shoulder, correct?
Yep. Yeah.
And then-
so we throw 2 stones that
Okay.
are just like the shot put. We throw 2 weights for distance. One is like 56 pounds. The other is 28.
Holy
you grab
shit.
with it's like a block with a couple links of chain and then a ring on it, and you hook grip it with one arm and spin around twice and throw it for distance.
Okay.
2 hammers, a 16 and then a 22 pound we throw for distance. There's a 20-pound sheaf we throw over a
Over the
bar for height.
Yeah.
Okay.
The sheaf is like a hay bale,
Okay.
basically, except it's a burlap bag filled with rope.
Interesting. Okay.
And or twine or anything, some type of stuffing, and the whole thing weighs about 20 pounds. And so you put a pitchfork through it and you throw it for height.
Okay.
As one
Interesting.
does.
So it really is just an event of throwing. I should
Yeah,
say yes,
yeah.
but it's just throwing a lot of different things, different ways.
Yeah, so there's 9 different events, and we have
Oh,
the
wow.
caber as well, which is
And the
the
caber's the-
telephone pole.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
That's kind of the one most people are familiar with. The only one that's in, that one's different than all the others because you're not throwing for height or distance. You're trying to turn it over to be directly away from you.
Okay.
So like a perfect throw would flip, hit on the other end, and then land at 12 o'clock directly away from you.
Okay.
So
Interesting.
anything off of 12 o'clock would be less good. And then
Oh.
if you didn't flip it, you would get like a degree up to 90 essentially.
Sure. Sure.
So you had to learn like 9 different techniques
Yeah.
of throwing.
Which was good, right? As a thrower in college, I wasn't very great at anything. But I was super average discus, hammer, and shot putter.
Okay.
And so I'm very athletic, but wasn't masterful at one thing at all.
Sure.
Did you
and-
do other sports in college?
Not in college, no. High school, I played football and dicked around with other stuff, and then track and field became kind of the main focus.
Sure. Sure.
And what drove you to do that than the other sports?
Which ones?
That you went like in college, you continued on with the track and field stuff. Did you enjoy it
Oh,
more or just
Yeah,
better
absolutely.
at it?
Yeah. I got some offers from some small schools to go play football.
Okay.
I just had way more of an opportunity in track and field.
Okay.
What is
It
the
was-
I'm curious what's the weight of a shot put in the United States as compared to some of the rocks that you were throwing over there?
So shot puts are all like 16 pounds or
Okay.
7.26 kilos, whatever that comes out to be exact.
Mhm.
The stones we throw, so we have an open stone and then we have a braemar. The braemar is your bigger of the two, and you throw it from a standing position instead of getting the full approach.
Okay.
And so that one is anywhere usually from like 20 to 28 pounds.
Okay. Wow.
And it's a traditional event based on this single stone in Braemar, Scotland, that they still throw at the competition of Braemar.
Oh wow. Okay.
Oh,
One of the
nice.
one of the only events that I really, really wish I would have got to attend, and I didn't.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yet.
Well, you're not dead yet.
Long way from showing up on the field in that one. I may have to let that dream go. And one of the coolest things about going to that one, right, was the Queen goes.
Oh wow.
Oh, yeah.
So the Queen's in Scotland, and there's this giant to do about it. And like 200,000 people end up showing up for this thing. It's absolutely ridiculous. If you look up Braemar Highland Games,
Wow.
it's on this perfectly like manicured, beautiful grass. And so typically when you throw, you'd get like a couple warm-up throws, and then you would get, 3 attempts.
Sure.
Because Braemar's on this weird schedule that's all based on the Queen. Like what she's got going on.
Of
right?
course.
That nothing is a priority except for what she's looking at.
Yeah.
And so you like no warm-ups and at best 2 throws
Okay.
and like 5 events.
Oh, wow.
And so like it's a challenging day to fly to Scotland to go do that.
Sure.
When it fell between like the North American Championships in Enumclaw, Washington are there every year, and then the game in Portland the following weekend, or the
Okay.
vice versa. And I could go do those 2 games back to back, hang out in the Pacific Northwest, probably camp,
Yeah.
and then make more money at each game than I would make at all at Braemar.
Yeah.
Like, damn, for an experience though, I wish I had it.
Sure.
But,
Right.
I just could never make it work, So that's the Braemar. Braemar stone comes from that. And then, the other stones we throw are, stones anywhere from 16 to 18 pounds.
Okay. How big is like the Highland Games in the States? How many athletes are competing in that over here?
I bet so you've got all types of classes, right? So you've got like a novice class, an A class, a B class, and a C class. And so your A would be your top amateurs. And then there's a professional class. I believe we've got women too. So, at some of these games, we had over 100 athletes on the field.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So pretty sizable sport. I competed really often. Starting kind of in May at Loch Norman out in North Carolina. These are typically like Scottish festivals or Ren fairs or those type of things.
Okay.
And,
awesome.
Somewhere people are going to be selling giant turkey legs.
Excellent.
Sure as shit.
Well,
giant turkey legs.
Real
people are walking around drinking ale. It's
right.
It's not a bummer of a sport to be involved in for sure. I very much appreciated getting to drink through most of my competitive years.
There you go. Yeah.
Some good beer too, I'd imagine.
Oh, I've had my share. It's been lovely. And so we we compete a lot. So starting kind of in May, and then the season went in September, and it would be I could usually do about 20 games a year.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, more than I thought.
4 or 5 weekends in a row. Yeah. Have a weekend off, 4 or 5 weekends in a row.
Wow. Okay. So do you go from like you win a US championship and then you're invited over to play in the Scottish games?
There's no real rules to any of it.
Okay. All right.
It's pretty loose.
It's the Scottish.
But I imagine you got to pass something to be able to compete.
Kind of, man. So in the States, there's a little bit of a system, right? So you've got novice, and then it would go to C, B, then A.
Okay.
And the kind of rule is like, if you win a C, you compete in the Bs now. And if you win a B, you compete in the A's now. And then there's some point where like A's have kind of world championships and stuff like that, like the amateur world championships and everything. And kind of the idea is if you win one of those, turn pro.
Okay.
But the whole thing is like, there's no federation.
Okay.
Right. And so every weekend is run by a Renaissance fair, and there's an athletic director.
Okay.
And they invite whoever the hell they want to.
Okay.
And so the whole sport came down to having relationships with the athletic directors. And so part of the gig was like in your amateur years, making sure you traveled to meet athletic directors and kind of kiss some ass so that when you turned pro, you had a place to get invited to go make some money.
Got it.
I suppose the worst thing is to turn pro and have no games to play.
Yeah, well, that's kind of how you decide if you can turn pro or not. Is like if yes,
have I met someone?
Maybe go for it.
Yeah, I made enough connections. Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, so you did enough schmoozing?
100%.
Excellent.
100%. Did enough schmoozing, and then I won an amateur world championship in 2011 that got me an automatic invite to the professional world championship like in 2 weeks.
Oh, wow.
Which is really strange.
Boom.
What I believed up until the moment that it was said to me, I was 100% in belief that I had an invite to next year's.
Oh, okay.
That I would have like a full season as a professional, and then I already got the invite to Worlds.
Which would make sense, actually.
Correct. It would absolutely make sense. Again, it's a bonkers sport. And so I show up at Worlds, my first professional Worlds, as my first pro game in New Hampshire.
That's 2011?
Yeah, in New Hampshire. And man, I threw my ass off.
Nice.
And ended up taking second place.
Okay. Nice.
And that took care of a lot of having to worry about getting invites as well.
Okay. Well, kudos to you for doing that so quickly. But
it was a big surprise.
What else do I need to do? I just know what to do. Just go and do it. That's awesome.
But like I felt the expectations were so low.
Okay.
Like I'm first pro, like anything better than last year, man. I'm feeling pretty fucking sweet.
Right. Right.
And so with that, like, what's there to lose here?
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
You know, absolutely set this place on fire and give it hell.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
And, you know, it was 2 weeks after World Championship. I'm still pretty peaked from like training and everything else. And so, you know, took 1 week off and then got some throws back under my belt and was so ready to go.
Nice.
And,
Nice.
you know, luckily got roomed with a rad roommate who, you know, helped through a bunch of years of the games. This guy, Mike Bukowski, who had been pro for a few years. And
That's cool.
yeah, really took me under.
So,
Nice.
so what's an average lifespan of a pro?
Man, so I did it for 8 years.
Okay.
A lot of guys will do it longer than 10 years. I mean, Ryan Vieira, who's now passed away, did it for over 20.
Jeez.
Mark Valenti's in great shape, runs his CrossFit out of Cleveland, and he threw for like 16 or 17 years. There's another guy like Kerry Overfelt.
Wow.
But I mean, most guys can do 8, 9, 10 years of it because it's not max effort work the way powerlifting is, right? Like the reward for getting stronger in powerlifting is you have to get stronger. And so that or strongman, right? Like the bar always rises. And so
Mhm.
there's only one direction to go. But
Yeah.
with throwing, the implements don't ever get any heavier.
Sure.
So
Okay.
So is it like from your first year to the next year now working on technique, you know?
yeah, everything all the time, right? Like I would build my seasons out that way and kind of like what training would look like to get peaked for big games. You know, lots of reps early in the season with not a ton of intensity to
Okay.
really be forcing big picture stuff so that I can get all that really dialed in technique wise so that when it came time to start putting gas on the fire, the muscle memory was taking care of 80% of the thing.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay.
And so by the end of the season, I could really focus on one or two things and really put the gas on it.
Got her all honed in by then.
So,
Yeah.
so there's no senior league.
No, well, there is a Masters.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so Masters is 40 and over.
Oh,
Which,
so that's the one I'll probably sign up
Yeah,
for.
you're good.
All
Go
right.
for it.
yeah, I recommend it. It's a fantastic sport.
It sounds fun, but
I had the best time doing it, man. Best job
Yeah.
I ever did.
Yeah. And then you end up blowing your knee out and was that related to the games or was that in something else?
I mean, I never had like a catastrophic injury.
Okay.
And so I always feel weird about saying related to the games or not. Like because I didn't have some slip or fall or
Mhm.
twist or moment or even in the lifting, I can't blame it on the games. However, I mean, however, I would say it had something to do with it.
Sure.
And so my knee just wore out.
Okay.
By the end of my last season, I was really struggling to throw well. And I couldn't quite get my hip to push through. And my knee wouldn't fully extend anymore.
Okay.
Ah,
So if that's not happening, I can't engage I can't engage the quad. I can't line up the hip. And then I'm always rushing the hand and then miss the throw. It's just awful.
Okay.
So the plan is, all right, we're going to have ACL surgery, get this knee cleaned up. We're going to take a year off, rehab, sort my diet out, get ready,
Yeah.
come back for 2018 and give it hell. Take another run at trying to win a Worlds.
Sure.
well, and I want to like to step back and mention that you won the world in 2012 and
Yeah,
2014.
2012 and 2014.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel we haven't touched on that
Sure.
enough because that's huge.
It was very fun.
Yeah.
Those are two really cool moments, and they've been really cool upon even more reflection of something I focused on for like 20 years of my life, right? Throwing in some aspect.
Sure.
Between that and like all the experiences of strongman and what I spent time doing and then traveling and learning it and putting time into mastery. Like I had 2 moments because I had competed enough. And one of the other things I've gotten very good at is I compete well.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I can deal with anxiety. I can deal with the stress. And like, I know that I can throw well when it matters.
Yeah. And
So
that's such a rare quality to be able to,
Right.
I mean, to handle that anxiety. I think that's what separates the great ones, right?
And it's confidence in it. Like I've
Yeah.
done it enough that like, I trust it.
Yeah.
Mm.
And so, over the years of getting to do all that, I just learned so much from it. That repetition and everything else just continues to build and build and build.
Yeah.
And so once that time that my knees worn out, it wasn't going to come back. And so the surgery didn't go great.
Yeah, to say the least.
Yeah, didn't go great. And so, it turned into 5 other ACL repairs and then really got into trouble trying to get out of chronic pain. We just had chewed the knee apart by that point, trying to save it.
Okay. Yeah.
So it wasn't a continuous injury. It was.
No, it was all really surgery.
Oh, wow.
So the end of 2016.
That's frustrating, isn't it?
A bit.
I mean, beyond the, okay, I re-injured it kind of thing. It's, how do you do? I've never heard it that.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I mean, essentially from January of 2017 till April of 2019, I had 9 knee surgeries.
That's crazy.
And like all elective, man, I chose this.
Yeah.
I was trying to repair a thing and then got to kind of chasing to fix it and then ran into trouble and then chasing to get out of pain.
Yeah.
I own all this. This isn't bad luck.
Sure.
Yeah. And I mean, anybody who wants to see, you kind of documented a lot of it in the, what's it called, Fragile on your YouTube channel. And yeah, I mean, you're obviously it's crazy watching through the years and how you put it together and the attitude change between, the frustration and yeah. So
it's been a journey.
Had to be a long process.
Yeah.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, I got really scared once kind of the pain stuff wasn't going away.
Yeah.
Going from competing the way I was and being able to use my body in such a way that like I really enjoyed. For one, it's how I manage stress with training, X, Y, and Z. Having all those things taken away from me and just rewarding any movement with pain.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's hard.
And so I went from being second in the world to I couldn't go up and down stairs using my right leg.
Jesus Christ.
That's
I traveled with a cane for a few years. I went and taught seminars with a fucking cane.
Wow. Okay.
The journey, yeah. Well, just the highs of being a champion to being almost crippled.
Yeah,
handicapped.
and then with it, right? Because at some point I just had to submit that. So this is where we are.
So what about a mental, as much as your body, but your body was bringing you your livelihood.
Mm-hmm.
And now my body is not going to help me with my livelihood. That had been a huge mental stress. Yeah,
losing that identity of being an athlete was really tough. Yeah, I'd been very prepared for the Highland Games coming to an end. Like that's a chapter, and I really wasn't that attached to being Matt Vincent, the Highland Games World Champion.
Sure,
it's a really cool thing I got to do, but it wasn't going to make my tombstone.
Sure.
And you realized that early on?
I knew that very, very early on.
Okay.
Same way that, look, I don't still want to talk about playing high school football.
Sure.
Right. Like a chapter ends, I seem to be better if I move on from it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And go find something else to do with my time instead of talking about yesterday.
Sure.
So
I was very prepared for that.
Okay.
And then the looper that life threw me was the chronic pain piece and not being able to actually use my body anymore.
Yeah. I mean, not just losing the sport, but losing the ability to do anything athletic.
Yeah. That one I wasn't prepared for at all.
Okay.
And, it beat me up, man. And,
at some point think I'm never going to get rid of pain? I'm never going to be able to walk normal again?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's probably the lowest it gets, right? Is I very, very vividly remember
Okay.
that my biggest goal has to be getting out of pain, because I know
And
I
when
know
was that?
myself well enough.
Between between which of your 9 surgeries? Ish.
It had to have been one of the ACLs, like 3 or 4.
Okay.
Where I had gone in, I did 3 months of rehab. Everything feels good. We go for a check and it's just not there. Like there isn't an accident. My body's just not apparently into cadaver tissue.
Oh,
And so like another ACL surgery. Like, so I did like 3 in like 9 months. And so that's a lot of time being under. It's a lot of time with anesthesia. It's a lot of time with nerve blocks. It's a lot of time with everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember at some point, because the pain thing had shifted and it wasn't like, it wasn't recovering anymore. It just stayed shitty. And it got to the point where if I got it inflamed from doing too much, like, I don't know, walking a couple 100 yards throughout the day, not even at once, just even at all. It got so inflamed that it would just be like an 8 or 9 out of 10.
Oh my gosh.
And so, my own kind of unique stance with death and everything like that is, look, if I'm really honest with myself, I know I don't ride the clock out like that.
Yeah, for sure.
I either at some point decide this isn't for me anymore, or I figure out how to get rid of the leg.
Oh,
yeah.
That's, okay.
And once I kind of can take some ownership of that feeling, then there's no risk to continue trying anything else that may help.
Mm-hmm.
And so at that point, burn all the boats, try anything we can.
Right. Yeah.
So during that time, it would, hey, obviously it's not the same doctor you're always going back to. Do you like,
right. same surgeon.
So and I don't know how to say it without being, but you continue to trust the same doctor, or you're like, no, I want to get,
I did. And that's never been one of those things that I've looked back on as a big fuck up.
Yeah. No, I'm not saying it is. I just
no. I'm with you, right? Like believe me, I've run through this more than once.
Okay.
With myself, this isn't a novel idea of, did I choose the right surgeon to continue to see this many times in a row? And between surgeries, I went and got second opinions, and everyone recommended the guy that I was with.
Okay.
Yeah.
As far as went to the Andrews Clinic and met with them to talk about knee, even doing my surgery there, and they felt my surgeon was fine. And would do the procedure that I was looking at. So,
all right.
I'm with you.
Okay. Yeah.
That would be the first question I would have for someone like me. He's like, of course, this wasn't the same guy just fucking building a new wing on his house.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and you hope they're not like that, but I had to ask. So.
No, look, man, I don't know what they're like.
Yeah.
I believe they're trying to help people.
You got to believe that. And again, to your philosophy, all right, it's done. So what was the final that helped?
Total knee replacement.
Oh, geez. Wow. Okay.
Oh, so up to that point, you were just repairing the same.
Mm-hmm.
And after 8 said, let's just replace it.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. That's really the last option.
Okay.
So I went into that one really scared.
Right.
And what was it?
No, go ahead.
Well, why didn't you do that after 5? I've never had surgery. That's why I'm asking.
So we did the ACL. So we didn't do like 8 ACLs.
Okay.
So we did like 5 ACLs, and then we tried to do a piece where they would replace the cartilage in the bottom of my knee where I was having pain.
Okay.
By doing this Oates procedure where they cut these like big 30 mil holes in the bottom of your femur and top of your tibia, and then replace it with cartilage.
Yeah.
That's fresh from a cadaver. As we're figuring out, one of the issues is apparently I don't do cadaver tissue very well. So these don't heal great.
Okay.
And so that becomes one of the next problems.
Okay. So it's kind of like trial by error.
A bit. a bit. Just fun carpentry.
Yeah.
So like you said, the 9th one, the total knee replacement was the scariest one. I can only imagine going into that worrying what's going to be when I wake up, and if you still have pain, where do I go from here?
Yep. Yeah, it
So-
was terrifying.
Yeah.
So, I mean, after total knee replacement, like they get you up and have you walking that day.
Oh, wow.
It's crazy. Yeah.
Well, there's no soft tissue to heal, right? It's not like there's
Okay.
a ligament that's been screwed in or anything like that. I mean, they've done some massive carpentry work here. They have sawed off the bottom of your femur, sawed off the top of your tibia fibia and the back of your kneecap. And then they've drilled into all of them and added metal parts now
Sure.
and this plastic midbit,
Okay.
which is now kind of your meniscus.
Oh, okay. All right.
Wow. I'm
And
not-
so,
there's a reason I'm not a doctor.
no, it's
Or-
carpentry. This shit is not detail work. If you ever watch them do it, like, boo.
You're talking, yeah, big picture, not finish. You're not doing finishing work. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Plastic surgeons are finishing work.
That's true. That's
Right.
true.
So
So your first step after the surgery,
I knew that, I knew that the pain that I had been really desperate to get rid of was gone.
Wow.
And how amazing is
And-
that feeling?
Wow.
I didn't trust it,
Oh, that's true. Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
but very, very good. But the very first moment of like, I knew that something I had been desperately in search of just getting a reprieve from was gone.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah,
Because I was only able to find a few times really that I could get any reprieve from it. There were only a handful of things that ever helped.
sure. And I got that feeling because I've had my back operated on twice, and for sciatic issues, and you have it the first time, and you wake up and you're pain free, and then eventually it comes back. So after the second one, I felt that when you said you don't trust it because you're like,
Yep.
okay, I feel good today, and luckily for me, knock on wood, I haven't had to go back for it. So
Yeah, I mean, I had three years of rehabs, right? Like,
Yeah.
no, I didn't trust shit.
You're right. Right. Yeah.
And so what kept you going through that whole time?
Well, I knew the other option.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not a good one.
No, it's not. No.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know, I'm not willing for that one yet.
And during that time, we were planning your next move. Like when I do get pain free and can walk normal,
It was really even tough to get that far
Okay.
because it had just kind of got to a point where, before I'd gotten pain free, that like I need to sort my brain out in case I'm
Mhm.
not.
Yeah. Yeah. For
Oh,
sure.
sure. Did you have a plan if not? Kinda?
Not really.
Okay. Okay.
Not really, if I'm honest. No, that plan's not going to be great for me long term.
Mhm.
Uh,
Dark thoughts?
no, for sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's no way I continue down that path till the end of the story. There's no way.
Right. Right.
Yeah, I'm very, very comfortable with knowing that's the alternative to me not figuring this out.
Well, thank goodness you did.
Yeah, no shit.
Same. Yeah,
No shit.
same. And so, like I said, right, if I know that's the alternative, then there's no risk to trying everything I can possibly do.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's kind of how I went into it. And like, if that's the solution, that if we can't figure it out, I have to be able to say we did everything we could. So
Mhm.
that means do all the rehab. That means let's take care of the diet and see what happens if we change things up so we live more anti-inflammatory. What
Yeah.
if we add cold plunge and daily exposure into my life? What if I do the sauna? What if I spend time doing stretching? What if I stop lifting heavy and pay more attention to doing other things?
Just tell me what I can try and I'll try it.
That's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's it.
How long after the total knee replacement did you do this 18, 19 mile hike / run?
Maybe right over 2 years.
Okay. All right. And
Yeah,
by
because
then
that
you're
would have been 2019. I got the surgery in April, and then that would have been 2021.
okay.
Oh.
And
In the
you're
summer?
you're confident with your knee, but at this point, like you're completely
Yeah,
good to go with it.
yeah, I feel pretty good with it. I mean, there's things I want to do and not do,
Sure.
just from the risk standpoint. But I mean, I don't mind mountain biking or trail running or lifting weights or doing anything like that. I have some struggles mobility wise, but they're all in the hip,
Okay.
and
All right.
that'll be its own next bag of problems I'll have to get into at some point. I'm just not quite ready to do it.
Sure.
All right. So your next chapter, you're pain free and you're moving on. And what's your next? What was your next chapter?
So I really
tech.
leaned into going after trying to build my brand and kind of continue adventuring.
Okay.
As I'd started to kind of find quite a bit of change in my life, from that chapter to whatever was going to be the next, it took some time to kind of say, well, what do we want to do? Whether, I've got my business already and I'm doing that, but that's the job,
Okay.
right? That's what I do for a living and I enjoy it. And it brings a great fulfillment of getting to create stuff and create content around it and have the podcast and do everything else. But I also still need to be learning and doing new things.
And
So go ahead.
Where does the clothing line then come into all of this?
So the brand has been around since 2014.
Okay.
I started that while I was still competing, and we've just continued on with it.
Okay.
It started as Hate Brand Goods, and then we've rebranded over to Not Dead Yet.
Not Dead Yet.
It's kind of
Gotcha.
yeah. I really appreciate it.
Well, I love the shirt. You picked a perfect movie to go on the shirt. It's a great movie.
Mad Max is great, man.
Yeah.
Look,
Yeah.
Yeah. It's one of my favorites.
I love a lot of all this. The style I always liked was all this kind of like a little bit more punk rock and a little bit more of that scene.
Yep.
Those type of movies with Evil Dead and
Yeah.
this type of shit was all my vibe. And so that, and man, I spent my formative years in bars and bouncing in strip clubs and living a hell of a life.
Perks to that one.
Yeah. Doing that, tour managed for a band, and
is that the
owned
band?
a bicycle shop.
So is that the band behind the jersey behind you?
No, so that's just another buddy's band.
Okay.
Every Time I Die, they're kind of a metal band.
Oh, okay, cool. Check them out.
Yeah,
Okay.
Great fun. And so got to experience a bunch of different lives. And I mean, that's really what's kind of informed the vibe of the brand.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so having some lifestyle apparel for those who do that and still attack life physically and are still really going for it.
Yeah, I feel like a little bit of a fraud wearing this shirt because I got,
come on, man.
I definitely need to make it fit a little better, but that's my choice. I got to make if I've
That is
learned
true.
nothing by watching Unstoppable.
Well, look, man, if any of that, right? Like, if it doesn't bum you out, I don't give a shit.
Right.
Yeah, and I hear you. I mean, the only
But if
reason
you ever have moments that say like, I wish I was X,
right.
fucking do something about it.
Exactly. And I've said too many times I'm going to do something about it, and so now I just stop saying I'm going to do anything about it. Now I have
There you go.
You stop talking.
You just
about
can't
it.
have both.
Right. But
You got to choose which one you want to do.
But it's I have a young daughter, so it's like you want to get healthy for so that's you got to make that choice. So
No, it gives you more
Well, at your
options
age,
and
you wanna
more
be able to pick her
opportunity,
up.
yeah, for sure.
Okay, so your brand was started back then. That's cool. I didn't realize that, which is awesome. And so obviously the brand has changed quite a bit and expanded quite a bit since back then. I mean, was that when it started? Was it more of an athletic kind of?
Yeah, it's kind
brand
of still stayed
stuff?
based in that, right? Like I would still say kind of my base audience was still powerlifters, strength athletes, stuff like that.
Right.
And as it's continued to kind of go lifestyle, I've always wanted designs that would appeal to both.
Yeah.
I kind of didn't feel like I wanted shirts to wear that were so obviously saying like I lifted. I felt like the machine's supposed to look that way.
Yeah.
Okay.
It makes sense.
So
Yeah, it does.
I don't need a bumper sticker on the back of my 4-wheel drive that says 4-wheel drive.
Right. Yeah.
Well, and to be fair, if I wear a shirt saying I have a 6-pack, but I'm fat.
Right.
I mean, I'm false ever. It's just dumb, So
Right. So
Speaking of that, did you see the guy who got the 6-pack tattooed to himself?
oh,
He's
what
like
a blessing.
Anyway.
What a blessing.
Yeah.
So I'll never wear that shirt yet.
Yeah.
But possibly.
Perfect.
Well, that's true. So there you go. Your brand. Let's talk about. Well, I don't think it's just a brand; it's your lifestyle, right? I mean,
Yes.
Not Dead Yet. I mean, that's huge for you right now, or
Yeah,
has been, and it needs to be huge in other people's lives. So,
Yeah, it's really been the driving force. I've been looking back at a lot of journaling I've done over the last couple of years, recently, kind of going back to really the start of this transition and kind of being able to look at stuff instead of some frustration I'll always find where I'm not making enough progress because I'm a lunatic. And so I'll get bummed at myself for not meeting some magical expectation that's made up on nothing.
Yeah.
But if I take time to go backwards and look at like where I was and I can see the progress, then it doesn't have to change the point that I'm currently at, that I'm back being stoked.
Yeah.
And so when things really switched for me, like there were a couple moments. There was in 2014, my dad passed away of pancreatic cancer.
Sorry to hear that.
And so he passed away at 62, the day before my 31st birthday. And so whatever awareness that came from that, of feeling that I was halfway through my life, was a big awakening to the simple idea that I am for sure going to die.
Yeah.
And in hindsight of that, and the more I've recently been thinking on it, that not only for sure am I going to die, but one of the options that I may not get to pick anything over is I die the way my dad did.
Sure.
Is I get fucking cancer, and in 11 months, I'm dead as shit.
Right.
Yeah.
And so if that's a possibility of me being alive, doing the sales job and shit that I'm currently doing isn't worth it. So I want to live a life that is.
Yeah.
Because if that's the way it's maybe going to go, fuck it, man. I got to make the ride worth it.
I have to tell you, every time I watch this thing, I nearly get up and go tell my boss I quit, because it's one of those things where, you know, I go to work only to make ends meet. There's no love left in what I do. So
yeah, but can you find it though? Look, I don't always believe it's burn it down, right? Because I think perspective is so much a part of it.
Sure.
And being able to have the right perspective on it changes the reality of that position.
That's true. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I won't quit yet.
With the position you're in, the job you're in, right? Like, what do you do?
I design buildings.
Okay. So when's the last time in that job that you were trying to get better at it?
Oh, I hope my boss isn't listening to this.
No, but I mean, that's honestly right?
Right.
So when's the last time you were trying to learn new information, re-educate on what's currently going on, push yourself?
Yeah. It's been a long time. Yeah. It's been a long time for sure.
Probably since you started, because you had to learn what.
Yeah. I mean, you're definitely expanding your knowledge base as you go throughout. And but where I'm out there pursuing to get better at it, it's been a long time. I mean, there's things that are going to come to you because they have to come to you through the job.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
There's also things you can go and learn on your own, and it's been a long time since I've done anything like that. So
I bet that would rekindle a lot of the reason why you like doing what you like doing.
Possibly. Yeah. Possibly.
I mean, you got there for a reason, right? Like this wasn't an issued job.
Right. Exactly. No, I made the choice to go into this. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I mean, simple changes of shit like that on the mindset of it, and being able to figure out what starts refilling that actual happiness, which is learning new information and trying new things and kind of getting to test yourself a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I hear
that's where the growth comes from.
Yeah.
No different than working out or anything else, right? Sure. That if I want my body to adapt physically, I have to stress it so that it grows back stronger to be ready for more stress the next time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the same for anything I want to be better at, whether that's, managing discomfort, managing anxiety, being able to think of, meditate. Anything's going to take repetition.
Yeah.
And for me to push it to a level that creates the adaptation I want.
Yeah. That's awesome. I love the way that you turned that on its head for me. Like in watching it, I love the message but that part of it had never come to me. It was always, I want to leave this and go do something that, but you're right. It's all about perspective and mindset. So,
I mean, there's no rules at all, right? That like in 5 years from now, you couldn't be designing really killer tiny houses and selling plans online.
Right. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
right?
For sure. Yeah. Yep.
Wow.
So look, man, one of the things I'm really passionate about now is after going through this dark space in my life, that I can help people manage perspective better.
Yeah.
Well, I think you just proved it. that you are able to.
Well, right. And that's what I say. Cause you
Yeah.
hear the message you want, the way you want to hear the message.
Yeah.
It goes in, and you fit. So to then put the message back out there and have it come at you a different way is, that's, yeah.
Well, and so much of stuff, right? Change, and people want change in this and that.
Yeah.
But it comes from taking action,
Mhm.
right? And having awareness. And so
Yeah.
even having the awareness of being able to say, like, am I looking at this the right way? Am I applying the same rules that make me excited to do anything else in my life?
Right. Right. So
And then if I'm not, I can take action toward those and see what happens.
yeah. So what do you say to the person who absolutely hates what they're doing, but financially can't
and didn't pursue it? Like you said, you chose that career. You went to college for
Right.
that. Somebody that I just took the job, and next thing you know, I'm 20 years into it.
Yeah.
But everything's a choice.
True.
Everything's a choice. And so the first thing is you've got to be totally accountable to be able to say, I chose this. This is where I'm at.
Yeah.
And so I look at it from that point, right? That we have, let's call that moment of awareness of this is what my life is. I just now realized, holy fuck, I'm 20 years into this thing.
Yep.
And I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
That's where I was.
Yep. So moment one is have self-awareness of that's happening. And be honest with yourself and stop having judgment of that feeling and trying to convince yourself that you should be happy because of X, Y, and Z. Just stop. From that point on, I consider like that moment, that's your base self. That is simply the you that is an accumulation of all of the experiences and things you've learned thus far. But the moment you realize you don't have to do that, that it was all a choice, that it wasn't on the rails, now you can take action. And so from there, what I try to think about really is like, what would my best self be? And not necessarily what does he do for a living, any of that type of shit.
Right.
But what skills would he have?
Right.
Right? What is he into? Does he adventure more? Does he read books more when he has downtime instead of staring at his fucking phone? Does he, instead of rewarding doing something great with bad food that later makes him not feel good, why wouldn't he reward good with more good?
Why were you staring at me the whole time?
Look, this is all shit I'm trying to convince me of too, man. Like, this is a battle because base me is trying to fucking win.
Yeah.
Because if I don't stay on the gas and continue to choose the discipline and the action, base me is who shows up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Base me is not that excited about life.
And it's a battle. That's good. Yeah, it is a battle.
So how many days do you wake up and you're fuck it? I just can't today. The choice is to just stay here and I'm not doing anything.
Never.
Okay.
Oh, all
Fuck,
right.
no way.
No. Good.
Not a single, no way.
Now, but was there a time where you did battle that? Even though you moved on from it, but
that was never how I would have managed depression.
Okay.
Depression to me would have manifested in other ways of being more self-destructive.
Sure.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely.
Just food or anything like that.
Sure.
I'm fucking way too ADD to lay still.
All right.
Yeah.
I mean, even through years and years of a lot of pain meds, I mean, the days that I just did nothing and stayed on the couch are pretty limited.
Wow. Even when you're going through 9 knee surgeries, you're finding a way to.
I can get, so, I mean, I'd built a garage gym by this point.
Okay.
Because again, base me is really lazy.
Okay.
And so if I have a drive to go somewhere, I won't go to the gym.
Okay.
So I have to eliminate that.
Oh yeah.
That is,
okay.
that is taking full accountability of, I know I'm this way.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we're not going to try to change that one. We'll just put a gym here and eliminate the excuse.
And that self-awareness is so rare.
I'm trying.
Yeah.
And so for rehab, I could always crutch myself into the garage and get on the assault bike, and even my leg in a straight leg brace, I could pedal and use my arms.
Mm.
Well, I also know too how much this helps recovery.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm getting lymphatic drainage, I'm moving, I'm getting blood flow, I'm getting muscle response. Even training one leg carries over to the other.
Okay.
And so, having that and being able to stay cardiovascularly intact while I'm going through this many rounds of being put to sleep, man, I can really feel that the anesthesia takes 7 days.
Yeah.
To
fully
really
get
get
out
out
of
of
you.
you.
Yeah.
And so, I would hammer it and start getting in the sauna and be able to start trying to cook sweat out and push tons of liquid, make sure that my diet's on point so I'm not getting any more inflamed than I need to be. Running a TENS unit almost 24 hours a day. Like, I attacked rehab the same way I felt like I was training for stuff.
Running a what unit? 20?
Like a TENS unit, so like a muscle stimulator.
Oh, okay. Didn't know what that was. Okay.
Yeah, so I can get passive contractions within the quadricep or the calves to get more lymphatic drain since I can't bend my knee.
Got it. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I didn't recognize it.
Sure. No, yeah, I've heard that before.
I haven't. Okay.
Yeah, I learned a big giant toolbox worth of stuff.
I would imagine
during all those years of just willing to dive in to find anything that helped. That's what got me into using the cold plunge and saunas and everything else.
Can you explain to me the cold plunge? Because I see it all the time, and why do I want to do it? And what is it going to do for me? Because I see everybody. It's kind of like the fad. I mean, Joe Rogan does it. Bert Kreischer does it. People for hangovers. But
yeah, sure.
They're not a hangover wise. Why would I want to do it?
So I got introduced to cold plunging like mid 2015. Okay. My knee was starting to be a bit of an annoyance. And I met a friend, Kelly Starrett, who introduced me to it. I used it at his place and thought, oh, that's pretty fascinating. Just got a different response from it than I expected. And especially how he was using it for down regulation. So it wasn't like post-training to just get rid of soreness. Okay. It was before he went to bed, he spent 2 minutes in the cold and then went to sleep.
Oh.
And so whenever you get in the cold, that's exactly what happens, right? Your body automatically, once you can slow your breathing down and everything else, your body shifts over to the parasympathetic nervous system. In case I'm getting that wrong, it's the one that is helping you with rest and digest. Like, I'm so far from being a doctor.
I guarantee no one watching this has any idea.
Perfect. Somebody out there is like, he's an idiot.
Yeah. I think we have a lot of. Yeah, no.
We don't want you to get hate mail, but you.
Man, I'm such a caveman. I promise. I feel like I've learned so much of this just phonetically.
Yeah.
That like I can recite it. But so the cold, as all your blood kind of restricts to the middle of your body, your heart rate has to slow down. You get to take control of your breathing. You switch over into this. You kick out of fight or flight, which is how most of us spend the day.
Okay.
Which is in our sympathetic nervous system. We're pretty amped up. I mean, you can kind of tell, right, that like if you sit still and you were to close your eyes right now, are your eyes darting back and forth behind your eyelids?
Yep.
And so that is sympathetic nervous system. That's fight or flight. You're producing cortisol, you're having stress hormone release, doing all these type of things all day long. The cold and the breath work kicks you into parasympathetic nervous system and drops all that back down. So that's
what he did. That's what he did.
That's what he was doing it and why he was doing it.
Got it.
So it does that.
Okay.
So that's one use of it.
Got it. And you?
Personally, I use it every day because I find that it brings me really present with my body. So
when do you do it?
So I typically do it in the morning as part of my morning routine, and then I do it again at the end of the day.
Oh, geez.
So I kind of just book. Look, it's 6 minutes of doing nothing. I'm not a fucking hero.
That's the only time you sit still.
No, 6 minutes.
That's it. It's 6 minutes of doing nothing.
That's still.
I can't get beat by nothing. It's so much easier than working out, I promise.
Well,
what is the temperature of a cold plunge?
I keep mine at about 45 degrees.
Okay. All right.
Kind of all the studies show anything below that's kind of whether or not it's any more valuable. Like, I'm not doing it for this max effort exercise of seeing how long I can stomach it or anything like this.
Sure. No.
Doing it to serve a purpose.
Okay. And your morning, are they different reasons? Your morning and and night? Okay. So your morning.
My morning routine is I'll typically get in here and try to spend some time moving, like either riding the bike, training a little bit, and listening to a book or podcast or something new information wise. And so by the time I finish training, I spend an hour in the sauna listening to a book or something else, podcast. By the time I'm done there, I'm usually so spun up with ideas and things that I'm useless. But I'm very excited for the day.
Sure.
And so getting the cold and me getting back present with my body instead of just being in my head during that whole time pulls everything back together with the breath. And then when I start my day, I'm really focused.
Okay.
So setting myself up for success. I feel like that time in the morning for me leading up to the cold plunge really helps me put my own oxygen mask on for the day.
Yeah.
Okay.
Though before I'm tackling emails and diving into other bullshit and already being attacked by the rest of the world, I get to take some offense.
Okay.
And do my non-negotiables.
Are you do you ever see your phone before you're done with this part of your routine?
Of course I do.
Okay.
Of course I do. I'm not Howard Hughes, right? I don't have jars of piss collected like some maniac. I do the best I can.
Yeah. Yeah.
You limit it.
Well, I just do the best I can. Right? If I catch myself, I really don't get mad or shitty with myself anymore. It's just a matter of, stop.
Yeah.
I'll say I agree with you there, because one of my moments in life years ago was if I did something where I was like, shit, I look what I just did for the last hour and I didn't want, I don't beat myself. And when I stopped beating myself up for stuff, my life was a lot happier.
Why am I throwing good time now at a thing that's already happened?
Correct. Yep.
I got the fucking message anyway.
Yeah. I fucked up. I'm moving
That's
on.
it. Move
Yeah.
on. I'm done doing that thing.
So the heat, so the sauna, what is that?
So also with the cold.
Is that back to back?
So I usually will do the heat and then the cold. There's no real right or wrong way to do it.
Sure. But there's benefits of this for the sauna.
So and back to the cold still. So you're also going to get this release of cold shock protein.
Oh.
So this also helps testosterone, helps some other hormone regulation. It seems to be very beneficial for you. And I believe some amount of cold plunging, I think Andrew Huberman has done it now, that it's like a really minute amount, like 3 minutes, 3 times a week reduces all case mortality by 40%.
Wow.
And so damn, that's a pretty easy one. I can manage that in my life.
Yeah.
The sauna does heat shock protein. It's another thing. It's essentially that you're causing your body enough stress that it wants to panic and fucking freak out so that you don't die. But there's no actual danger.
Right.
Sure.
And so as long as you get that big release and your body doesn't have a bunch of injuries to now heal, you get all the benefits of that big release without it having to dig you out of a hole. Does that make sense?
It does. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
if you could do one or the other, which would you feel is more beneficial?
Probably cold.
The cold.
It sucks so much more.
Yeah.
I've done it a lot of days and been very consistent with it since 2015. If I don't have it, I do a shower, and it sucks every day.
Okay.
There isn't a point that I'm like, whoa, this is gonna be great. No, man, I'm still not that.
So after all this time, you still regret or not regret?
I'm still aware I have to do it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, that's good to know then that they're in my head going, okay, well, eventually you do it for a year. You're like, but
there's always still some flag that tries to pop in my head and be like, I don't want to.
Okay.
I just have realized at this point, I don't have to listen.
Yeah, there you go.
But I choose.
Okay. That flag doesn't get a vote.
Perfect. Okay. So that was going to lead up to my next question. I think you were kind of going with the shower. So I can't build a cold plunge here. I mean, I could throw ice cubes in my bathtub, but
depends on how much space you got.
Well, I'm in an apartment building. So
do you have a garage?
I can't get into that because I got yelled at for using it as storage. So that's a different story.
What are you supposed to do with it?
I park my car.
Oh God! All right.
I literally. I don't want to bore
Yeah,
you.
it would be tough. Like the only
15
thing
years.
your
I got
best
yelled
version is like to DIY one is what I did the first time, and I just got an old chest freezer.
Oh,
You just fill it with water. They're liquid tight anyway,
Nice.
and then you
Okay.
plug it in.
so I guess where I was going with. I mean, if I cold shower, I guess I don't know what the coldest my shower will get.
It's a
Well,
great way to start.
Is it?
Yeah.
Beneficial?
Do I think that? Yes.
Okay.
It's beneficial. I also believe that it's psychologically beneficial. Because I believe that there is something to every single day having one moment where you're like, I don't want to. And you say, that's okay. We're going to do this anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
it's something too that every day you walk toward one thing that sucks. There's not any danger to it, but it's a willingness to not listen to that voice. I think
Right.
that takes repetition too, to be able to hear that voice and realize we're going to be fine and be able to realize that it'll lie to you.
Yeah. It's going to do everything it can to get you from doing it, but you do
It's
it
always
anyway.
going to try to bring you back to the base self.
Yeah. You do it, you survive, and you live on.
Because it does suck, and so I'd imagine if I would to get into after my shower, throw it to cold and sit in there for 3 minutes every day and say this sucks. It should build other things that suck that I'm going to continue to work towards.
Exactly. So I look at like it's microdosing discomfort.
Okay. I do like your verbiage.
It's genius.
I really do.
So
For a lot
like
of things.
microdosing discomfort kind of idea, right? Is that, I mean, any adaptation I want has to come from small amounts all the time, whether that's training or if I'm losing weight, it's a caloric deficit, or if I'm gaining weight, it's a caloric surplus. And if I'm, well, I mean, even microdosing or anything along those lines, but
Yeah.
supplementation or anything needs to be done consistently over time. So doing a little bit with the cold kind of keeps that edge always sharp. You know, me doing 1 day with the cold a month for 10 minutes is less beneficial than me doing 1 minute every single day.
Sure.
Because every single day I chose this discomfort. I chose this moment where my body's going to freak out
Mm-hmm.
and I get to handle it.
Mm.
So that when life throws something at me and my body and everything tries to freak out, I've got tools to be able to say, we're all right. Chill the fuck out. Manage yourself and make good decisions.
Yeah.
That allows me to push myself further in business and try to take better risk with whatever it is. Manage all those things.
Yeah. By the way, I did it. I put ice cubes in my bathtub once because I had to try it. So, and I did it. I did 3 minutes, and it's crazy how you do go from like, oh, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do it. And like in 3 minutes, you're just like, and everything is just so slow. And so
That's why it's such a great tool for like first responders.
oh,
I mean, one of the guys I work with here in St. Louis, Josh with St. Louis Breath and Exposure, he's a firefighter.
Okay.
And I mean, finding this is really what saved his life.
Well,
Is finding hot, cold, and breath work to be able to get himself out of that panic mode.
Yeah.
oh my gosh. Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah.
Wow. That's cool.
So you get guys tools that actually help them sleep, get guys, you know, so they're not constantly in panic.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's a big one, panicking throughout your day and life. So I'm going to, my head's swirling about incorporating a cold shower for a minute every day shower. So
Yeah.
I guess the other thing is a shower, and then I'm done showering, throw it to cold, set a timer for a minute as a start for a couple of days.
I mean, even just as a start, right?
Yep.
Hit the cold shower.
Yep.
And all you have to do is get to the point that you can take 10 full breaths without just get back in control of it.
Okay. Oh, okay. Thank you. That's
Try that. It's
Okay,
a
I'll
really
try
good
that first.
tool to kind of measure some progress of it, and you'll realize how much quicker you can get at it.
Okay. Tomorrow, we'll see. But I will. That's a joke. That was a joke.
Choose
No,
to
big
be
one.
better.
Well, it's incredible what you can do with enough repetition.
Yeah, and that's the key is I'm not very good at consistency, but
You and
I-
most everyone else.
yeah,
Right,
yeah. Well, it's weird because a lot of people I work with seem to be so routine and consistent with their shit every day. And I'm just like, I don't get it. I don't get how you can do that. My ex-wife was that way. And I'm like, I don't get it. But maybe that's why we're divorced. I don't know.
I'm
There's
not.
many other reasons.
Look, I'm not hardwired that way.
Yeah, I'm not either.
This has all been through trial and error and being honest with myself of like, when do I like myself the most? You know, when I like myself the most, when I'm the happiest, whenever I feel all those things, I tend to produce the best work. I tend to be the best in the relationships around me. I tend to honor and take care of myself and my time better. All these things are happening whenever I am being my best. And I know at this point that if I'm not training kind of regular, I get a little shitty.
Sure.
I know that if I'm not watching what I eat to some extent, I get a little shitty because I start feeling different. I know that if I don't spend time alone and spend time journaling now, I know that if I don't spend time doing those things, I'll get shitty. Man, these are the survival tools to keep me in the place that I want to be.
Yeah.
So that I operate my best. Because if I have the awareness that I ever feel better when I do it versus not doing it, I can't argue with it.
Okay.
That's back to that battle, the battle.
Right,
right.
right.
Or it's admit that I'm not interested in being better. And that one I don't stomach very well.
Sure. And you're always training for something. You've documented the training for the 240 mile bike ride.
Yeah.
Are you currently training for something, some sort of?
I'm not right now.
Okay.
I turned 40 in 2 weeks. We'll be in South Africa when I turn 40.
Oh, well, early happy birthday,
Happy
first of
birthday
all.
too.
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you guys.
I'm assuming you probably don't much care about the number. You're probably,
Well,
You know-
or do you care about the weeks?
well, the weeks.
I care
yeah,
about the weeks, man.
Yeah.
I care about the weeks for damn sure.
So I'd like. Go ahead.
But it's interesting. I've been reflecting on it a lot and
Yeah.
seeing what I think about it.
About turning 40?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
And
turning 20, turning 30, turning 40, all these different decades and different chapters. When I turned 30, I kind of reached an age like where my parents were the same age when they had me.
Okay.
And I'd really felt by like the point that you had got to the age where you would have kids, which was based on the experience I had growing up, that like you had answers.
Yeah.
Like that like you felt like an adult and not like a kid who
Yeah.
had more responsibilities. And when that didn't happen at 30, at some point there in the middle of 30 to 40, I realized that, holy shit, my parents had no clue what they were doing.
join the club.
Right. Yeah, of course they don't.
Right.
They have so much less resource than I currently do to information and came from a society that believes authority to be adults.
Right.
And I've thought a lot on that because you feel weird about your parents because you don't ever see them as kids. You don't feel weird about your buddies that you grow old with and seeing other adults. But there's a group of adults that were always adults when you showed up.
True.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And they're always adults to you.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
Even if you see pictures of them as children, it
Yeah.
doesn't matter. It
Yeah,
doesn't matter.
no,
Right.
it doesn't matter at all, man.
Yep.
Interesting that how we look at that. And so turning 40, I don't feel like I can't tolerate any more of the childish shit from me. And I don't
Okay.
mean like pursuits because I'm still looking to have as much fun as I can possibly have.
Sure.
Right.
But childish excuses
Okay.
of like, I don't want to.
Yeah.
Or some weird feeling that when I'm stressed out and I switch to eating like shit, that's unacceptable anymore. Because like, what a childish move. Like, that's your feeling of control. Like you're going to sabotage your meal because at least I'm fucking this one up. It's not the universe. Like, what a childish thing to do, to pile on the bad.
Yeah.
And I don't want to do it anymore. And so like coming into 40, I feel I'm trying to get an awareness on all of those little things that like, that's got to go.
Okay. Which is completely different than 30, when even though your dad had passed away and you thought half your life was done.
Yep.
So now you're 10 years older, 10 years closer.
A lot less life. So I'm going to circle back to the question I had with your dad passing away with cancer. Did you look into things are you scared about getting cancer, hereditary? No. And have you researched how to, I don't want to say prevent cancer, but through all your, the way sure.
I'm going to research.
Look, my dad got pancreatic cancer, right? Like that one, Steve Jobs got it. I mean, there's a little bit of luck of the draw.
Sure.
But also my dad, type 2 diabetic, he wasn't doing great things of taking care of himself. He had some issues with congestive heart failure a little earlier and had to have a pacemaker put in. I got to see some pretty shit lifestyle decisions affect my dad's health.
Okay.
I don't know when the end date comes for me, but I am doing everything I can to stack the cards in my favor. Again, because if it goes that way, it'll be worth it.
Right.
So in the back of your head, do you still feel like 62 could be your number?
It absolutely could be.
And it could be.
Yeah. I mean, look,
42 could be your number.
Absolutely.
But, okay.
Look, it's an arbitrary point in the future, right? I mean, it's 1,134 weeks away. And what it does is it gives me a moment of reflection.
Yeah.
And if I've done this reflection every week of my life and been able to say, fuck yeah, to the decisions I've made about doing the things I want to do that bring me the most fulfillment, if I get to 62 and empty the jar, I bet I'm doing things pretty great.
You did.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you said you're going to celebrate your 40th in South Africa?
Yeah, we'll be in South Africa. So we've started doing a few things. I started a mentorship group, Not Dead Yet Life, and starting to work with people and talk about a lot of these ideas of kind of this midlife awareness, I guess, that ends up happening.
Yeah, I was going to say you host some men's retreats.
How to navigate it. Yeah. So just hosted one this past weekend, hard reset retreat. And it dives into a lot of that. It's just getting men to take the awareness of where they are and be able to, objectionally look at their bullshit so that we can address it and let go of it. Things are really hard to change direction of if you don't have a target to get away from or go toward.
Absolutely. It's so cool that dudes are doing this kind of thing now too. Cause I look back at my dad's generation and there's no way these guys would have been meeting to talk about their feelings.
No. No, so definitely not.
It's great that we've come to this point that these things are the norm now, becoming.
Yeah, I'm glad that the people not doing that are still running the country. That's fucking excellent.
Well, yeah, that's true. But
fucking great work. Getting to do that's been great. Like I'm getting to see this kind of impact. I got really lucky when I started digging into awareness and weirder shit with doing more cold work and breath work and all this other stuff that I would have written off as hippie world for way too long. Just so kooky and looking at crystals or any of this other stuff, man. It's just, come on, we're playing sound bowls. It's a lot. It's a lot, especially from the background I came from.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there were a couple times where I got exposed to people and decided to just lean in and listen and see what I could learn without any judgment of it.
Sure.
And there was a bunch of stuff there. There was, it helped a ton to go in just as a white belt and say, I do like a lot of the vibe these guys have. Let's see what happens. What if I live this way for the next 72 hours and try to think about things and see what I like or don't like? And, man, I noticed a ton that I did.
Yeah.
And so getting a chance to work with men who kind of come from a different background, more like I did with bands or more artistic or creative or powerlifting and stuff like that, and be able to switch on some awareness and help them realize how much more there can be to do with the tools that you just built.
Yeah.
you know, and
Nice.
being able to change some perspective to like what we just talked about.
Yeah. Yeah. So what's the why are you headed to South Africa?
Sorry, Jesus, sorry.
No,
I
that's all right.
wandered
I
off
took-
there.
No, I took us on the tangent.
So along with
No wrong direction here.
yeah, along with the retreats and stuff like that, Bonnie and I travel with this company called Trova Trip. And so 2 years ago, we got to working with them. And so we're essentially bait for a travel agency is
Okay.
the simplest selling tactic here.
Okay.
But the reason we're stoked on it is we get to build these itineraries out.
Oh, nice.
And then they have a fixer on the ground that really takes care of everything. So like I'm not playing tour guide
Okay.
by any stretch. I like getting to travel with other people that are stoked to travel.
Yeah.
And especially if I get to pick the itinerary. It'll be
Right.
fun and do the things that I'm into.
Right.
Some adventure and some history stuff and some being outside, experiencing a place. I love it. And so we've opened up those for people to travel with us.
Cool.
Because man, I think it's a lot to, you know, it's I can just see the barrier of it being too much to go to a place if you've never left the States.
Right.
100%.
sure.
Yeah.
The fear of getting there and not understanding how to do the rental car. It's just too many decisions that feels way too fucking chaotic.
Yeah. Yeah.
And being able to have someone do this where it's basically turnkey, show up with us and let's have this experience. I've got to see people take on travel.
That's awesome.
And nothing's changed me more than that.
Yeah.
Big
I got-
travel, small travel, all of it.
Yeah, watching the videos that you did while you were in Zimbabwe, camping in Zimbabwe, to me that was just eye opening. Like, because I think of like that part of Africa, thinking, can we even go there? Like, are we?
Right.
You know,
How do you get
Yeah.
there?
yeah. So to
Yeah,
watch
I
the
just-
experience you had was amazing.
Yeah, just getting back from Uganda a couple weeks ago with another buddy, Justin Wren. He's runs a foundation called Fight for the Forgotten, and we were going to help document and help Justin create content to help promote his foundation where they're
Okay.
helping the Batwa Pygmy people in Uganda.
Oh, okay.
These are a really forgotten, bottom of the rung group of people that have been really marginalized,
Okay.
like essentially thrown away.
Wow.
Sure.
In a place where there's already no opportunity.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so getting clean running water has been basically the goal of Fight for the Forgotten. And we were able to turn over a well to the Karambi area, which serves about 1,000 people. And then we were also able to turn over this 50 acres of land and 30 homes that they've built for the Batwa people in the area.
Wow. That's amazing. That's awesome.
Was an eye-opening trip.
Yeah.
And your trips, you can invite people along, or they can sign up to
Not
come
that
along.
one.
No, not that
something
one.
like that one. Yeah, but the other ones, yeah. So
Yeah, the other ones, because you see it on your.
yeah, so
and
we'll
we
be in
wanna
South
promote your-
Africa at the end of the year on the Trova trips, and I've got them all listed on the Not Dead Yet Life website. So
Right.
NDY Life, they're easy to find.
Cool.
So we've got South Africa next week, and I think South Africa, like I think we landed Cape Town. We do a couple hikes. I think there's a chance to do like shark diving and some other stuff. So it should be quite a rip.
You want to go? You're an experienced shark diver.
I have
Nice.
swam with the shark, so
How was it?
I was pretty close. It was in Belize.
All right, super fun experience.
Oh, I loved it. Absolutely.
Okay, rad. That's all I need.
Yeah.
I don't care
Yeah.
about anything other than that. I just am interested in checking the box that says swam with sharks and see what I thought.
And that's why I got in the water, is I can say swam with the shark. That was 100% the reason I jumped in. Otherwise, I'm like
Managing
fuck no.
managing some weird fear.
Yep, that's what it was.
Whatever, right? Turn the
That's
volume
a-
down, decide to take the action.
That's
Yeah.
exactly what it was. I did it even with look at that. Look at me.
Look
There
at
you go. There you go. And then we go to Peru in August, and we'll do Machu Picchu and go see all that that area.
Mhm.
Do some hikes. I'm really excited about that one. I haven't got to go to Peru yet.
Okay.
And then we do December, we go to Egypt.
Oh wow. All right.
So we've got like a 10-day
Wow.
trip to Egypt and see the pyramids, the Sphinx, to do all those types of things. And we've got like an overnight train and an overnight float on the Nile.
Oh, now that one
That's
really
amazing.
intrigues
And so
me.
like,
Wow.
I'm pretty sure that like it's a big boat
Yeah.
with like kind of like a low top, but it's open air with the whole thing's basically covered in mattresses.
Oh, wow.
And
That's
so
cool.
you just kind of hang out outside.
And that one you'll be posting and can sign up for it. Possibly.
That one's full. It already booked out
Ah.
for December. So we've got 2 new trips for 2024 going up. We're going to go back to Iceland.
Nice.
People have been wanting to do that with us. This will be my 14th trip.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, we're going to put together kind of a spring Iceland trip, I believe.
Yeah. The Egypt one really intrigued me, but
Right.
The Egypt trips. My mom's going. I mean,
oh wow.
so
That's
it
awesome.
ends up being some of our friends. Like I bring my videographer with us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that we can get content and do all the things around it, which
Absolutely.
hopefully helps us do more of those things in some
Yeah.
weird way. Like, I can't believe any of this shit's a job.
Right. Well, hopefully you go back and I'll
I've
keep
had
following.
real jobs, man. I can't believe any of this shit's a job. I'll never stop being amazed that I get to do any of this stuff.
So what's on your travel bucket list? Where haven't you been that you got to get to?
Everywhere.
Yeah.
Fuck,
Everywhere and anywhere, right?
Everywhere. My travel bucket list.
Yeah.
It's
cool. What's cool is that nothing immediately comes to your mind because you're right. For you,
there's
it's
a
everything.
couple. There's a couple, and I'm already like figuring out how to phrase it to kind of get around how I feel about it.
Sure.
Hmm.
And it's I want to road trip the Pan American Highway.
Okay.
And it makes me uncomfortable to even say it like out loud as a goal
Okay.
because I'm fucking terrified of it.
Oh, really? Okay.
I mean, just the reality of that is an 8-month road trip from Prudhoe Bay, Alaska to Ushuaia, Argentina.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Oh,
Wow.
now I get it.
Yeah. Like to road trip that full route, you're crossing into so many different countries and there's all these border crossings and you're going to have to have fucking proper paperwork on all this bullshit.
Yeah.
And like, it's that part of it.
Yeah.
Sure.
It isn't the 8 months living in a van that fucking bothers me a lick.
Right. Yeah,
It's the hassles.
Yeah.
It's that I'm going to have to deal with my van breaking down in another country.
Oof.
Like that's part of it. That
Yeah.
will
Oh,
happen.
it's reality. Yeah.
Right. And so like, there's some part of me that knows how fucking capable that you would come out of the forge on the other side of that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
what all you've seen and whatever you've been experienced to, that I don't know that I could put a value on.
Yeah.
With that said, I'm terrified of it.
But you got the tools to make it through.
Yeah, it's so much because now because there's also like a spot in it that there aren't any roads.
Oh,
So you have to take you have to ship your vehicle to the next place.
Oh, wow.
oh,
Okay.
jeez.
And then when you get to Ushuaia, you have to basically box all your shit up and ship your vehicle back to the States or drive back.
Ah, okay.
I
Yeah.
never think about that.
You don't think of those things. Yeah. Yeah.
And then I've also got to get to Alaska to start it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I have an 8-week road trip essentially to get to the start.
That's true. Yeah.
It's so, like the
It's
more
huge.
aware I am of what an undertaking it is, the more I'm just amazed by it. But people fucking do it all the time.
Oh, really?
People ride
Wow.
bicycles.
What? Oh, jeez.
People are incredible.
How long is it? It's got to take you years on a bicycle.
Yeah.
Years,
People
yeah.
will just fuck off on their bike for a couple of years and ride south. It's amazing to me.
Wow.
That is well. It's amazing hearing about it.
Well, I mean, what it does for me, right, is it just opens my eyes up to like, that's an option.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's not expensive.
Yeah. Yeah. You got a tent on your back, I suppose, and your 2 bikes.
Yep.
You're good to go.
Not that expensive. You can also do it at whatever pace you wanted, pick up work in other countries, do bullshit, you know?
Wow.
But the idea of spending my time doing something that I don't love, where I could just do that adventure and see what I learned from it, just fascinates me to no end.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you'd be alone for so much of that journey. especially on the bike.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Man, anyone who can deal with that much head time,
Right.
unfuckwithable.
Yeah. No.
You know, that guy's not stressed out about like needing to make the next whatever paycheck or salary bump to
Meeting.
get the next bullshit thing.
It's enlightening, yeah, but it's a big step, huge
It's
step.
a big step, man. But like in 8 months, you'd never be able to come back. Like
Until
that's
you
all
get to
the
the end.
investment is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Knowing that going in, you have to know it going in or realize
Fascinated by it. Yeah. I mean, like I knew going to Uganda for this project a couple months ago a couple weeks ago would absolutely be a big perspective shifter for me.
Yeah.
And it was not by any surprise, you know, that spending time with the Batwa in their village, they've got stuff we don't. Man, community and love.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Incredible. For people that don't have running water, there's not electricity. They have water spigots within 100 yards of their door. And they sleep in these 10 by 30 concrete buildings, which are, by the way, the nicest thing within 100 miles. Everyone else we met was in mud brick huts with dirt floors.
Wow.
That are walking 3 miles a day to fetch water to start. One of the guys we met living that way, Michael, he's 26-year-old, 2 kids, beautiful wife. He and Vivian live there. Michael has a degree in community development, speaks like 5 or 6 languages, and that's his life.
Wow. And he's happy.
Yeah.
That's the key, right? Right there. He's happy.
Yeah.
He's got purpose.
Yeah.
And even in the Botswana community, right? Like, even though that they're at dealing with real scarcity, because they're still if no one gets firewood, we're not cooking.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And if we don't have water, we're not cooking, we're not bathing. If we don't do this, we don't grow crops. If we don't, so there's always that thing. And everyone has purpose and everyone feels value. And as we've shifted into this type of lifestyle in the Western world, we have so much abundance that this is what the experiment looks like if you have it in all avenues.
Yeah.
What do people do if they have all their major needs taken care of and access to nothing but whatever they want? They get fat, they get lazy, they don't take care of themselves. Next thing you know, they're miserable.
Right.
Because they don't feel purpose.
And wanting someone to fix it for them.
Yeah.
Because they've learned this point that all their decisions are shitty.
Yeah. And not only fix it for them, but fix the shit that they wouldn't even need. Fix that shit for them. It's like,
right.
So.
And we're raised around a full thing that's consumerism push.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Buy this. And the key to help me sell it to you better is the quicker I can make you feel it.
Yeah.
And the quicker it'll solve your problem.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I've often said that there's not the feel of purpose anymore with a lot of people.
A lot of people. Yeah, for sure.
Especially the young. That's huge.
It's a really tough one.
Yeah. Because even if it's minimal,
not to feel valued by a community.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's what we got to see there, that I saw that that overpowers everything.
It does.
If you don't have that, the other shit's a bust.
Yeah. Right. Right.
Because that one works without the other stuff. I haven't seen this way work without it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Nice.
It's too bad that a lot more people can't go visit, or at least because if you ask a lot of these people, or I don't even mean by these people, I don't want to just bash on the youth today, but
the youths.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, you would say to them, like, really, there's people living in huts. They wouldn't even realize that there's people still living in huts. I believe it. I believe it's some mix, man. I think it's everyone, right? Like, there's a really small percentage of any generation that goes to actually experience stuff like that.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Not just the youth. And I think the youth are a lot more connected than we give them credit for. I think that we in our generation had such the pendulum swing back to everyone being offended by every fucking little thing.
Yeah.
That the pendulum's going to swing back to they just don't give a shit.
Yeah, I think that swing is already happening.
They may actually end up getting to fall on what equality may look like.
Yeah.
because equality means that we're not doing award shows for different divisions.
Right.
Like, fuck.
Yeah.
You know,
Sometimes it's too much.
We're all just rad people.
Right.
Any of the fucking race thing or anything, I guess, man, I just don't understand what a big deal. We can fuck our way out of this problem. Just enough love sorts the whole goddamn thing out.
Absolutely.
Easier like this is an easy one, guys.
It should be. It should be.
But who knows? No one's called to ask my opinion. I threw rocks in the field.
Not yet.
You do, but you did it well.
Yeah, I did that
at a championship level.
So what is next for you? What's in, this trip to South Africa, but what's next in the bigger picture?
So bigger picture is leaning into more with the rebrand of Not Dead Yet. Being really excited about that. I've kind of seen how it registers different with people immediately.
Yeah.
Than hate did with having to explain or
right.
And so it feels a bit back to day one. And so now it's like having a new brand, and which means that we need to go back to really telling the story about what that means and creating inspirational content and creating content that wants to get people motivated to believe in themselves, to take some awareness, to be able to realize that they're capable of continuing with the rest of their life to be better. That this feeling of the best days being behind me is a lie, but I've got to take action toward changing it.
Right.
So leaning into the brand and being able to tell that story and connect with people the best way we can. Continuing to create content, YouTube with travel and getting to take on some adventures, doing some podcasts, and then probably doing some more writing, working with this my mentorship group. I really, really enjoy getting a chance to connect with more people that are interested in talking about these type of things about self-improvement.
Yeah.
And I just wrote it off for so long. I just for so long was so turned off by like Tony Robbins or any of these fucking guys.
I think it's funny. When I was thinking about this interview, mentioning to you that I like your style because you're believable, you're authentic. And I struggle to find authenticity in guys like Tony Robbins. And
same.
I get that some people do, but it's just not my cup of tea.
It just doesn't resonate with me whatsoever.
Yeah. And
you're a lot of show.
I get it now, right? Like I've been around enough of it now to see what brilliant ability that level of a speaker has.
Right.
Mm.
And what a skill that is.
Yeah.
But
you're more genuine. You're just genuine.
Okay. Sure.
That's my opinion.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I'll take the compliment.
And then it 100% is, I mean, those guys, it seems like their message. Yeah. They're not a bad message, but they're a lot of flash.
And also their message is great. And their message is the same thing.
Yeah.
It's
always
flash
and show. You're to the point.
I've started to think about them differently.
Mm-hmm.
And like what power they hold over being able to speak.
Yeah.
Communicate. Like the English language is so sloppy and clunky and gross to try to describe feelings or emotion or art or whatever it is. And some guys have a better grasp on it. Like if there's people who are at a 0, that means there's people who are at 100. You get the full spectrum.
Yeah,
then occasionally you get a guy like Tony Robbins who has a big grasp on how to speak and then aligns himself with other people who can teach him how to do that better.
Yeah.
He's got confidence and charisma.
Yep.
Right.
And he's got the ability to change people's lives with this word. Like, I mean, he's done it 100 times. If it wasn't working, people aren't spending the money on that shit.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, no, it's working.
That's what I said. I mean,
but if we go back, if we go back 500 years, right? Like we go back to the Dark Ages, that's a wizard.
Yeah, right.
That is 100% someone that we would call a wizard. This guy says stuff, I feel a way, my life changed.
Right. Yep.
Right. We're not that far off. We just have different terminology for it. But that guy's definitely a wizard in the way that he can cast spells and change people and use verbiage and communicate. Like I'm in awe of it.
Sure.
And I've got to see enough people who are. And so I realized that some of those guys are too far. for guys that resonate with shit that I'm into that kind of came from the same background.
Yep.
And if I'm ever get to be a connector from one world to the other, it's great. And
Mhm.
so like, if that's a role I get to play, I'm into that.
Right. Yeah. So you mentioned more writing when you were in your talk at Vertical. You mentioned something about a book deal. Do you have a book coming out?
I do. I've got one that I've been working on since 2016. It's been slowly worked on with the other variety of things I do, and should be getting back into it later this year.
Kind of an autobiography of.
I think I'm going to try to position it a little bit more like Jocko's Extreme Ownership with some steps and some
Great
like
book.
rules to follow based on different topics.
Yeah. Yeah. Great book.
Just with kind of my mindset about, fixing perspective and being able to make the most of it. I really think that if you can manage your perspective, then you control your reality.
For sure. I hate that I don't know if you've got a heart out here. I hate we keep asking you more and more, but
oh shit. Yeah. I guess it is 9:00.
Yeah. I'm interested in that book, The Third Door, that you mentioned.
It's great.
How did you come across that? And I know you got the journaling from it, but
Alex Banyan, I think is his name. The author. I caught him on Aubrey Marcus's podcast.
Okay.
And I really dug what he said, and I thought the perspective and point of view on everything was super sharp.
Nice. Cool.
So speaking of journaling, what do you say to a guy that says, well, I'm a guy, I don't journal?
Sure. That's what most guys say.
Right? That's a typical answer.
So for one, I'm not interested in being like most guys.
Okay.
This is already one thing that helps me separate from being part of that.
Yeah.
The other thing it allows me to do, right, is as I'm writing instead of just thinking, it allows me to take myself out of the moment in memory and be able to deal with it in a more injectionable way, in a more logical way, because now I'm getting rid of a story.
So are you journaling about what you want to do or what you've done?
There's no right or wrong way.
Okay.
It's basically just open communication with me.
And do you make it a point, like your morning ritual?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to write every day before I get in the cold.
Yeah, I typically write while I'm in the sauna.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
And so I typically journal while I'm in the sauna, and those sometimes turn into talking points, or those turn into video ideas, or they turn into nothing.
Do you do all journaling on paper, or do you do any like voice
across the board?
Okay.
I don't care how it gets out.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just
as long as it does,
method.
Right?
Yeah.
Well,
it's
right. And it's
just the check-in with being able to communicate like with myself. Right. And even if I don't have anything, I'll dive into just gratitude.
Okay.
Of just being thankful for 3 things that happened yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Even
it's never the
if
same every day.
Yeah. I mean, no, they can change every day. I don't have the same journal assignment every day, essentially. I don't think that that's a terrible place to start if you're unfamiliar with it.
Right. But I think that's going to be the biggest thing for people is starting, and I'm embarrassed to write, or I don't want to admit it. So which again is fucking crazy, right? Like, yes,
we can let go of this weird idea that we were supposed to be good at a thing that we've never done.
Mm-hmm.
And so if we can just admit that thing right on, and then get rid of whatever embarrassment this thing is, you're not writing it for anyone else but you.
Right.
It's just for you to get better at communicating. This gives you a better idea to flesh out ideas. This gives you a better idea of how to put things into better words and better phrases and better perspectives. It gets you clear on your dreams. It gets you clear on how to deal with past trauma. It gives you just a different route to talk to you.
Yeah.
Without clouded fucking judgment, which is up to you whether or not you want to put on it.
Right. Yeah.
Well, again, I like it's just you talking to you, not I'm journaling today. It's you talking to you. And this is a way to, no matter how it gets out, just get it out.
It's a way to focus. Look, we deal with so much things that crave our attention.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
We're happily to hand them over. I mean, man, technology is fucking great.
Yeah.
It is incredible what they've done.
Yeah.
But I'm aware of the trap.
Right.
Like, I know what it does. I know that part of the game of it is to make me not be active.
True.
If I'm active and not on it, I'm not helping it make money.
That's for sure. Yeah. Right.
So its goal is to keep me on it.
Yeah.
So as long as I have the awareness of that happening, then now I can make a decision. Do I let that thing fucking beat me? No way.
Yeah.
Happiness is not found in that thing. I'll guarantee that.
No, it's not. It's not. So do you still have to cold plunge before it's cold plunge and sauna yet tonight?
No, I'm already done for the day.
Okay. well, I think we've eaten up enough of your time. Thank you. So, I mean, we could talk to you forever, quite honestly. But
look, man, anytime you guys want to have me back, let me know.
We will certainly.
And thank you for that offer. We will definitely fully.
Yeah. So have a great trip to South Africa. Have a happy birthday and promote anything you wanna promote.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you guys again for your time. Audience as well for listening. And if you're interested in any more of my stuff, notdeadyet.com is a brand and indylife.com is my mentorship, and happy to help any way I can. If you want to send me an email, it's matt@mattvincent.net. I'm really easy to reach. Shoot me a DM. And if there's a way I can help, I'd love to hear how I can support.
And go to YouTube and watch Unstoppable. If nothing else.
Fragile.
What's that?
Fragile.
Oh no, I'm talking about your speech at the Vertical U.
Sorry. Yeah, the Vertical Union speech. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, because that's well, the first time I saw you was with Jason Ellis, and then I went and I saw your speech, and that, like I said, it's life changing. And
thank you.
If you're not going to consume any of his other content, in my opinion, that's what I would watch, because it can certainly help you just like that. So
that means a lot to hear.
Yeah, we appreciate it. So thank you. Have a good night.
We appreciate all your time for all the shit you do.
Yeah.
So
thank you
for squeezing us in. We appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you guys, man. And look, I appreciate as rad a setup and doing the podcast as you do. It's rad talking to people who give a shit about it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah. You're great to talk with. So
yeah,
man, you guys have a great night.
Yeah, you as well. Thanks again.
Bye.
Thank you for listening. The tavern is closed for now, but we'd love to have you back for more fun next time. Seriously though, get your asses out of here.